There's a pretty one, Ulysses. There it is.
Hello BookTube, I'm Shehan the Book Maniac. Welcome back to another Friday Reads on my channel. Ooh, I said it a different way than I've said it the last 5 years. Oh my god. I'm also sporting a new blouse. I'm always a little second guessing myself. Certainly my colors, I'm not sure if I love it, but it was like $15 online, plus shipping, and the shipping was pretty reasonable from Belgium. So I'm debuting it this morning. I also ordered another one that was more expensive, that is totally, if the pictures are not deceiving, a Shehan blouse that hasn't arrived yet, but maybe I'll be debuting that next week. That's the one I'm really excited about. But yeah, I like the green in this one. Yeah, I think I like it. I'm also, for the first time, filming my Friday Reads in the dining room, which is just a dining room in name only. It's piled high with empty shopping bags and groceries and medicine and everything. You couldn't sit down and eat a meal here if you tried. I need lots of space to just throw things down, especially books. There is no place that is not covered with something. It's been the story of my life. And I'm too old to change my spots now, to change my ways now. I'm using the ring light and I've turned off all the kitchen lights. I'm still not sure. It feels kind of washed out over here, but I don't know why. So let me try. I just opened the patio door because I'm hot. Let me close the blinds and see if that takes away that washed out white light on this side. 1 second. All right, how's that? I think that's a lot better, but now maybe it's too dark. Me and my lighting issues and audio issues and every other kind of technical issue, it's just one big messy work in progress. We're gonna go with it for today, and I will decide later whether it's something that I would ever try again, but I need better lighting in this apartment. I'm looking forward to spring coming, but it's probably spring won't arrive here until mid to late May. Yeah, that's one of the downsides of living in Saskatchewan. We have a very short spring and summer when I can go outside again. All right, so I don't really have a lot of personal news, but I'll tell you what. But I do kind of. I actually took kind of a baby step towards getting myself the hell out of the house on my own volition and doing something. Just by myself, because I don't have any friends, none that are in town right now. And even if I had friends, they probably wouldn't have the same tastes as me. But this is also going to be a shock to you, because I just posted a video, a drunken tag video, think twice video, where once again I reiterated how much I think movies are stupid. Well, I went and saw a movie on Sunday, and this was a blame it on Lindy experience, because she raved about the adaptation of Women Talking, the fantastic novel by Miriam Toews, and she had just seen it, so I immediately booked a ticket, and it was downtown at a big movie theater, and I could get my ass down there on the bus, 2 buses. It wasn't so cold, I didn't mind waiting outside for a bus, and went and saw the movie. And on the way there, after I got off the first bus, I left enough time to have a quick bite at McDonald's. And I've been out of Canada for so long that I bought a Happy Meal because it was only $5. And I thought, oh, that's cheap and I don't really want too much or whatever. But I'd completely forgotten that's the child's menu. And I can't believe the guy sold it to me. But then somebody on Facebook told me that adults do collect the toys in them, so they do sell them. And it was just enough food. But it wasn't until I finished eating and I saw the toy and I thought, oh, this is a children's. This is fun. This is children's food. No wonder I could swallow the hamburger, the cheeseburger in one bite. But anyway, carried on, went down, had popcorn. Oh my God, I so deeply resent. That's one of the reasons I hate going out to movies. It's such a hassle. So that's one thing. But also, I can't stand paying more for the drinks and snacks than for the price of the movie. So I got a $10 popcorn. I probably could have done with half that size, but it was only like $1.50 cheaper. And I was hungry because my lunch was so small. So anyway, putting all that to one side, I enjoyed the movie thoroughly. It wasn't nearly as good as the book. Movies never are, because movies are not that. They're kind of stupid. But this was really quite well done. Most of it was excellent. Sarah Polley was the director, and she's one of the most fascinating Canadians, if that's not an oxymoron, out there. And she brought that novel, which was based on a true story, to life in a way that was incredibly moving and powerful. There were some things, I didn't think all the acting was good, and particularly the one male character, I thought he was a bit of a sad sack, and so on, and the ending dragged. I thought it could have been a quarter of that length and been more powerful. However, those are small quibbles when compared to how deeply I was affected by it. So that happened, and then on my way home I stopped at the Ukrainian supermarket, which is only like a 12-minute walk from my house. I'd been there once before and bought pierogies. My thing with pierogies is I like them, but I've never ever gotten passionate about pierogies. But they're okay, and they're an easy lunch or dinner. You just boil them and then fry them if you want to fry them, or just boil them and have some put on with 2 cups or 3 cups of sour cream for dipping, and you got a whole meal there. But for whatever reason, I chose a different kind of pierogi when I went back on Sunday. It was a bacon and potato pierogi, and I had a freaking food orgasm. I couldn't believe how delicious it was, and it's, I think, made in the Ukraine. The brand name is Grandma's Pierogies, and I am going to be eating the bacon potato pierogies made by the Grandma's Pierogi Company for the rest of my life, because they gave me the biggest foodgasm I've had in a long time. So I am now passionate about that particular kind of pierogi, and just my luck, I'm going to go back, and they won't have them anymore, and they'll never get them back, and I'll never find them again, because, that's the way life goes with me and food. Anyway, so it has done wonders for my mental health, for my state of being, to have actually gone out of the house and had a day out, half day or 3/4 of a day out, and lived to tell the tale, no mishaps. And, I am pushing 60. I should be able to do these things without my parents driving me somewhere. So I'm growing up. I'm having a second adolescence or something. And so I'm going to another movie tonight, which is an Indigenous movie called Rosie. That's all I know about it. I think it's made in what is now called Canada, and it does sound really good, and so I booked my ticket. It's at the Repertory Theatre, which in Saskatoon is the Broadway, and I remember their seats are horribly uncomfortable, but for 90 minutes, I hope that I will be fine. And so I'm going to keep this, even though I've now been talking for 8 minutes, just telling you all this crap, keep this Friday read short so I can get it edited and posted before I have to get on the bus down to the Broadway Theatre at about 6 p.m. tonight. About 10 o'clock in the morning now. So that is my little check-in, and here's the week in review. It was on some list this year. Was it the Booker? I don't know. It was on some prize list last year. I read it before all that nonsense happened and really enjoyed it. So I'm about to say, and it was quite a departure for me. It was not really a Shehan book. So what is this with doppelgangers, or not doppelgangers, alter egos, and not being a Shehan book that Shehan the Bookmaniac actually likes? I don't know. E.H. Young's husband was killed in the First World War, and she was already having an affair with another man who was married when her husband died, and then she moved in with that other man, whose name was Ralph Henderson. She moved in with Ralph Henderson and his wife, and according to Wikipedia, they had a menage a trois relationship. Wedding Bells by A.A. Milne. Champagne is often pleasant at lunch. It is always delightful at dinner. And it is an absolute necessity, if one is to talk freely about oneself afterwards, at a dance supper. But champagne for tea is horrible. Perhaps this is why a wedding always finds me melancholy next morning. Well, lovely people, for book game number 11, I thought I would choose 3 relatively recently published novels from Ireland. The Irish readathon is just around the corner, and who knows, maybe I'll read one of these. And maybe you will too. Without further ado, here is book number 1. They tried to make the trip to town no more than once a week. And again, this new approach to my Friday reads, not pushing myself, You know, Thursday used to be the biggest reading day of the week, and I would often exhaust myself so that it was really quite dopey looking for my Friday reads, although I think I looked pretty dopey last Friday. I hope I don't this Friday. Maybe the low lighting is gonna make me look more refreshed than I actually am, although I feel okay. Enough about all that stuff, Sean. Keep going with your Friday reads. So I haven't finished much. I do have breaking news, because today I'm delighted to tell you that I've had my first bail of the year. It was the one I was hoping to read and even have reviewed before you saw me next, but it didn't work out for me. And that is this gay novel from Brazil, The Words That Remain, by Stênio Gardel, translated from the Portuguese. That's the problem with low lighting, I can't read anything. By Bruna, Dantas, Lobato or Lobato. And it just wasn't very good. It started out with a few beautiful phrases, and I thought, oh, this is going to be quite sweet, and really, the writing was really interesting. And then it just devolved into kind of in a way, an unbelievable story, but that wasn't really my problem with the story. I mean, it was a story about fathers rejecting, physically brutalizing, and in one case, back in the family tree, murdering their sons who were gay. And so that's a powerful storyline, and set in the backwater of Brazil. One of the other problems that I had, which I didn't think of consciously until I saw somebody, a Goodreads review, and they mentioned it, was that the setting, the geographical setting was not vivid at all. But really it was the writing. It got really clunky and messy, and I just lost my investment in the story. So even though the premise was that this 70-year-old closeted gay Brazilian guy has been carrying this letter from his lover in his adolescence for all of his life, he's never been able to read it because he was illiterate, and he's taking reading classes at the age of 70 to find out what his lover, just before he disappeared when they were 18 or something, wrote in the letter. And that sounded like it could be incredibly powerful, but I just lost interest. I didn't skim ahead, I just stopped. It was a bail. However, I want to share a dissenting opinion. Not quite dissenting, but another opinion that it's worth, because, this book may be for you, but it wasn't for me. Joseph Schreiber, who's been a guest on my Bite-Sized Book Chats, wonderful book blogger from Calgary, said, and I think he has a full review. If I'm right about that, I'll put a link to his full review in my show notes. He's the one. It was him in this comment that said a better, greater sense of place would have helped, and a tighter narrative. He said the ending was much better, and that there was the introduction of a trans character that also made the ending of the book more rich. Doesn't convince me to go back and finish it, but I put that out there for you to consider whether you want to give it a try. It didn't work for me. So, the Empress of Bailing is waking up. Let's try for 2 bails before next Friday, shall we? And I finished one. In other words, I had a really relaxing day yesterday. Not worrying about finishing so much stuff up for each and every Friday reads has given me the time and space to dip into all of the books that I'm reading, like about 13 or however many it is, almost every day. And eventually I'm going to finish a whole slew of them, so my Friday reads are going to be erratic, but my Friday reads are always erratic in some way or another, and sometimes even a little bit erotic, but maybe not today. I finished, without further ado, I finished Happy Sands by Barb. It was a reread. I read it to one of my patrons, and I loved this book even more on a second read. I remember towards the end of my review, I vaguely alluded to the fact that maybe not every element of the way the story ended worked for me. Well, on a second read, everything about the way the story ended worked for me, and I actually appreciate this on a much deeper level beyond the humorous. It's bust a gut funny for me. It really appeals to me. It's very sarcastic humor. But then there was the emotional undertone of the way the story moves to its ending that really affected me more this time. So I need to reread more stuff. This was a big hit. Can't wait to read more by Barb. She's been on my channel. I'll put a link to that Zoom chat as well. And I've started, I think, 4. One of them, which was the Bail. So I have 3 other ones to tell you about. The 5th one, Battle Songs by Daša Drndić, still hasn't arrived. So as I explained last week, I ordered it from Indigo, which is Canada's big bookstore chain. What's the one I'm trying to compare it to in the States? Anyway, it's the bookstore chain that people love to hate, and I do hate it most of the time, but they're really reliable about when you order something and they say it's going to be delivered on a certain day. So far, it's never missed. But this book has been late because they got hacked. They haven't released publicly the details, but it's probably a ransomware thing. They've been offline. Their stores have been open, but you can only pay cash, but their website has been down for about 10 days or something like that. And it's they're being kind of mysterious about what the deal is. But that has meant that my copy of the book, which was supposed to arrive last Monday or Tuesday, this past Monday or Tuesday, hasn't arrived. So I'll just have to wait on that one. I have nothing but superlatives about the other 3 that I've started. I am really bowled over by all 3. So, no, there's not going to be any rants from now to the end of the video. People, if that's what you're here for, you can turn it off now, because I have nothing but praises to sing. One of them is The Sleeping Car Porter by Suzette Mayr. I've just gotten a bare start on it, and first chapter, and I just love the writing, the characterization. Everybody knows it's about a sleeping car porter, a black sleeping car porter in Canada around 1950, I want to say. I've forgotten the timeline because, I don't remember the historical time periods very well. But, it's so vivid, and he's gay and closeted, and mostly what it is a description. It is really kind of a companion volume to Orwell's Down and Out in London and Paris, if I got the full title correct, in terms of the degrading, mind-numbingly boring, exhausting work that being a train car porter was, and maybe is, I don't know. Wow. And I thought that the Orwell book got pretty boring after a while, and I'm only early in this one, but because it just was, the grind got pretty repetitive. I hope that there's more in this to keep the story lively, but I'm deeply impressed with what I've read so far, and I very much support it winning the big prize, whatever it won. Didn't it win the Man International Booker Prize or something? And this one, I think, won the Giller. This is a Sri Lankan novel. I'm just playing with you, as I know which awards they won, but I do like to be irreverent. The Seven Moons of Maali, Almeida. But I didn't even try to pronounce this guy's name last week, which was maybe subconscious. I didn't consciously avoid it, but I believe it is pronounced Shehan, Karunatilaka. It won the Booker, I know. It didn't win the Giller, I don't think, but it should have. I have read only about 10 pages of this, and I am just smitten with the writing. And it's the kind of story, it's set in the afterlife or whatever. This gay Sri Lankan photojournalist died, maybe quite suddenly, and he doesn't realize he's dead, and he's in the afterlife, and there's all this bureaucracy there that blah, 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 and there's this concept of the 7 moons, which I don't fully understand, but it's the kind of story that would often cause me to bail, but there's something about the way the story's told, and so far, and something about the way that this really quite unlikable protagonist is depicted that has just hooked me. I'm really excited about it, but bear start. This is a new buddy read with Joe Smith. We're checking in on the first 86 pages, maybe. Tomorrow, I got a lot of reading to do. Happy to have that problem. And finally, maybe the biggest shock is that I am totally engaged by this horror novel. This Indigenous horror novel, Bad Cree by Jessica Johns. I hereby declare that because I am loving it, it is definitely not genre fiction. It is not a horror novel. It is literary fiction that's maybe going to be a little scary at times. That's how I define literary fiction. If I like it, it's not genre fiction. Nope, it's literary fiction. Oh my God. It's really deep. So this protagonist, an Indigenous woman living in Vancouver, is dreaming about her dead sister and crows attacking her sister and killing her. And then she comes back from the dream in a way that's reminiscent of Octavia Butler's, the one about the slavery, the novel that's set where the protagonist keeps going back to the slavery era from 1976. That one, whatever it's called. A little bit reminiscent of that, but oh my God, I'm so into this story. And this is the American edition, the one that doesn't have an ugly cover. It's really grabbing me, and the writing is lush. That's all I have to say. How far have I read into this? Maybe a little bit farther. About 30 pages. So I'm finally going to take a deep breath and not start very much in the coming week. But I do want to get in. I had a whole bunch of books I wanted to start this month for Black History Month, but I'm probably only going to have room for one more, and that is the second short story collection by Danielle Evans, The Office of Historical Corrections. I think it was just last year I read her debut collection, Before You Suffocate Your Own Fool Self, and I absolutely loved it. Just through that one book, she's become one of my favorite short story writers. And this one, the reviews have been extremely positive, so looking forward to starting this one. So, that is what I got. I gotta now get all this editing done and put it up so I can go see my movie. Thanks for watching.